So you just pulled a chase card or picked up a single you've been looking for and are thinking, what's next? Well, if you not only want to figure out the quality of your cards and to protect them, but also in the case of a high graded card increase their value, grading is a great option. However, for me, understanding how to figure out which of my cards are in a good condition to grade, understanding how to package my cards, and which company I want to grade with were all confusing at first. Over the next couple videos, I'll be going over my first experience sending out a card to grade, so hopefully it can help you all understand what the process looks like. In this video, I'll be going over the options for grading, why I decided to grade my Moonbreon from Terrestrial Evolutions, and what I looked for before sending it out to get an idea of what the card might get. My name is Collections, I'm Sean and I collect things, and this is my channel where I talk about the Pokemon card hobby, give advice, and open packs. If this is the first video you have seen from me, thank you so much for clicking on the video, and if you are a returning viewer, I really appreciate the continued support. If content that helps you collect is what you enjoy, I hope you stick around and give the channel a subscription. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to point out is just like the options for grading, like I mentioned. So there's a couple big companies you can grade with. PSA, obviously, I think most people will agree, is the biggest one. As you can see, there's my Moonbreon submission. I'll probably have to blur this number out, but it's pretty interesting the way it works. PSA, I think for the longest time, has been the biggest competitor, the biggest, brightest star in the space, and I don't think that can be really argued with. There are a couple other grading companies, but I think PSA continues to hold its value the best, and people sort of gravitate towards PSA, even though there are other options. So we can take a look at what they do. I'll go over this a bit more specifically when I talk about my experience grading with them in the next video, just showing what they look for and stuff like that. But I just wanted to point out, yeah, there's different values for what card you're looking for. And for me, the Moonbreon was a bit expensive just because they need the max insured values. But it is pretty interesting. I think PSA, if you're looking for the North Star, I guess, or the cards that will be the easiest to sell later on, go with PSA. The next option I would point out is CGC. I actually really do like CGC labels, especially the Pristine 10s. I do have a couple. The Ammonite, if it picks up on this camera here, is a Pristine 10 Japanese from the 151 set, which I really love. With CGC, they go beyond a 10 and they have a Pristine grade, which is above a 10. And so if you think your card is in a really good condition, but isn't enough for a Beckett 10, which is probably, I think, the most pristine version of a 10 possible, go with CGC. They don't hold as much value as the PSA versions. You can just take a look online as a CGC 10 versus a PSA 10 to see that's true. But I think that their labels do look a little better, in my opinion. This nice black on gold, especially for the Pristine, which PSA doesn't even have the concept of. If we take a look at PSA's grading, well, let's just go to their website. Actually, here, I'll do you one better. I have a card right here. So we can take a look at this. Okay, with Focus, Executor, Lone Executor I have. You can see the labels like red. But I think that the CGC label in general, even this one, the black and the white versus the red and white, I think I like it a little better. But honestly, at that point, it's personal opinion. And the last one I want to mention, right, is Beckett. And this is one I was saying where if you think your card is a perfect 10 on every single like setting, which is like centering, corners, edges, and surface, as you can see here, send it with Beckett because they do subgrades, which the other companies, I know CGC and PSA no longer do, or CGC used to do, but PSA never did. But yeah, if you think it's really good, you go with Beckett because the Beckett Pristines are very, very highly regarded as being like the creme of the crop, essentially. And the last one I want to point out, it's kind of a new competitor, is Tag. So the way Tag works is unlike the other three where they have a human come in, they take a look at the card, and they give the card a grade based off the different things they're looking for, the 4 categories of things that they all share. The way Tag works is they actually use AI and imaging, I believe, to scan the card, figure out what the centering looks like, what the surfaces look like, and everything like that. And so out of the options, I believe Tag might also be the cheapest. Let's see, go to grading, pricing. Yeah, so $15 for a graded card is honestly, I think, the cheapest. CGC is also not too bad from what I remember. I was looking into CGC as well. Yeah, so it's also $15 a card. But you're also paying shipping and stuff. And bulk is nice, but you need to send in a lot of cards, which is not always a good option for everyone. But yeah, these are the options. The one I ended up going with is PSA just because, to be honest, out of the companies, I think PSA is a little bit more lenient when it comes to grading. And as you'll see when I go over the quality of my Moonbryon, there are some things I pointed out, but PSA is a little bit lenient on some aspects. If it's like pretty close to a 10, they'll usually bump it up. From what I've heard, obviously I've not graded before, but I've seen some 10s, which with CGC I don't think would be 10s, and vice versa, where if it's like a 9.5 in CGC, like the Charizard here, which I still haven't unbagged, I think this might be a contender for a 10 in PSA. Well, it depends on what you're looking for specifically. If you're looking to flip the cards, or to grade them and hold them and possibly sell them long term, I think PSA is probably the best bet. But if it's for your own personal collection, honestly, the CEC and the tag labels, I think, do look better. So if that's what you're looking for, I would go with one of these two. And the final point is, again, if it's a perfect card, if you see no issues with it, go with Beckett. Because Beckett will give you, if you get the pristine 10, it's so much better than the other labels, in my opinion. So yeah, with that, let's take a look at the card itself.
Okay, let's take a look at the card. We got Umbreon EX from Prismatic Evolutions. We got really lucky hitting this card. I just want to show a couple things in terms of what I looked for when I decided to grade this card. For me personally, I'm okay with getting a 9 on this card just because it has some sentimental value, just because it's like the biggest hit from the set. I haven't pulled Umbreon before, so it's pretty cool. We can start first off by looking at this corner. You can see there's a slight nick in this top right corner. I'm hoping that doesn't degrade the value too much. I've seen online some PSA 10s were able to get by with it. It's not a nick so much as a slight imperfection, I think, in the coloring. I've tried touching it, but I don't want to damage the card in any way. So as you can see, the back, it looks pretty decent. I think the centering overall is pretty good. I bought this centering tool to try and see if I could determine what the centering is, but it's a little bit hard to like just line up. What you're looking for is at least, I think on the back they give a little bit more leniency, but I think you still want 60-40 minimum. And so with this tool, you want to line up on the corners. So here you can see I lined up this corner here, and you can see that the bottom half, it lines up with the number 3, and then the top half, it's also the number 3, which I think means it's good. And the same thing goes for the sides. So you can see here, I'm going to line up this edge here, and we get the 3 on this side. It's also about 3, so that, to me, this seems like it's a pretty good sign. It's a well-centered card. This ding in the top right is what really worries me. But other than that, the card looks pretty pristine. The front is also super duper nice. You can see the foiling, no dents or anything. I did notice, if the light will pick it up, there seems to maybe, yeah, you can kind of see when I do it like this, a slight imperfection here. And I'm hoping those two things don't dock it too heavily and my grader is having a good day. So we'll see. But overall, yeah, like I mentioned, I'll be happy with the 9, just hopefully not an 8. If it's an 8, that'll be a little sad. But we can do the same for the front. We line it up. Yes, it looks like it's 3 here. It's about 2. Let me make sure I line it up quickly. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right anyways. It's said to line it up with the thickest part, but I don't know if that makes sense to me. We'll try that too. But yeah, 2.5, 2, and then up here it's about 3. Either way, it's about 2. If I do it with the corner I like, it's 3, and the top is, so you can see 2, and I think 3 to 2 is still within the bounds of being okay, because 3 to 2 is about 60-40. We do the same from left to right. So left is 1 to 3, right is 1 to 2. It goes to 2, so 3 to 2. I also found this app. Let me cut to footage of that.
Okay, so this is the app. It's called Card Centering on the App Store. As you can see, what it does is essentially you try to balance your phone both on the X and Y axis, I guess, and just to get a clean photo of the card. And once you get that clean photo, you can adjust the lines to sort of line up and figure out if your card is more right-weighted, left-weighted, top-heavy, or bottom-heavy. So this app won't give you information on the surface damage or corner damage or anything like that. But in terms of centering, it's a pretty good tool. As you can see, I was just fiddling with it, trying to get the lines matched up perfectly. But I think at a certain point, as you can see here, we kind of know that's like a 55-45 heavy card, which is pretty good. because that's within the 60-40 bounds for the front. And I'm still adjusting just to get a good idea, but yeah, I think at this point I'm pretty happy with it. So I went back and I'm gonna take a photo of the back as well. So here we go, flip the card. It was a little hard to get the photo just because I was using the Tropicos mat, and I think that didn't help because it's like blue and rainbowy as well. So I think next time I'll try to use like a big piece of paper or something so the card stands out. As you can see, it was like pretty tricky to get the photo working. But we take the photo here, and I think the centering on this back is also like very good. As you can see, it even defaults to 46-53 or like 46, yeah, 54 essentially. Which is like really good, right? Because that's within the 60-40 bounds. Outside of centering, I think the only thing I'm really worried about with this card is that slight nick on the corner I pointed out and some of the edge wonkiness, I guess. But we'll see how this card does. Now that we've taken a look at which companies you can use for grading and what to look for in the card itself before you send it out for grading, in the next video, I'll be going over how I sent my card out to PSA, which I actually have already done. So right now I'm just kind of waiting for my Moonbryon to come back and sort of see what the grade will be. I'm pretty excited. I think regardless of what grade it gets, whether it's an 8, 9, or 10, I'll be happy with it. Just because, like I mentioned before, a lot of this for me is sentimental value, and I want to keep the card protected. And if it gets a 10, that's just like a huge plus. And at that point, I might have to sell it just to pick up the rest of Prismatic Evolutions, because as everyone knows, it's super expensive right now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys stick around for part 2 and part 3, and I'll see you guys next time.